I guess let's discuss the Supreme Court avenue. Do you think that might be an avenue that his lawyers would want to pursue? Like, there at a certain point, I mean, do you think the Supreme Court would intervene? And I guess part of me is kind of skeptical of even that, because I feel like the court doesn't want to be perceived political. They don't want to be involved in these things. They didn't want to be involved in elections in the past. So in my mind, it's like, some people think, oh, that's going to be Hail Mary pass, it'll go to the Supreme Court. But in my mind, I'm like, Chief Justice Roberts, I mean, I don't know if the Supreme Court is going to want to weigh in. But then also, how do you have elections in a country where this is going on? So what would that path look like?
I think that if the Trump lawyers managed to get the case to the Supreme Court in a manner that was procedurally proper, right, like that followed a procedure that they understood, I think they would probably succeed. I think the Supreme Court generally sees itself as above politics and is very unhappy with the lawfare against President Trump and the attempt to put the leading presidential candidate in jail. That's sort of my general assessment of where a majority of the Supreme Court is. I mean, that would also explain, I mean, they've taken a bunch of cases, and you're about to see opinions come down, I think, that are going to be friendly to the president. They've taken a bunch of cases that have been that the DOJ and all the liberal legal eagles said, oh, the Supreme Court would never take this case. The law is super clear. Presidents don't have any immunity. Obstruction of an official proceeding means what we say it means. So, they have gone down the road of, and they've been proven wrong every time the Supreme Court has said, no, this is all ridiculous. We're going to fix this and put a stop to it. So, and there's so many different legal problems with the trial itself. I mean, there's this huge, massive due process problem with the fact that the prosecutors played hide the ball with what the actual crime was, and then basically allowed the jury to pick from a menu of potential unlawful means, and then also didn't require in the jury instructions that the jurors find that the unlawful means had been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. So, there's just all these different problems that would make it pretty clearly reversible on appeal. It's just a question of getting it to the Supreme Court in a manner that is procedurally okay, because the Supreme Court has to think about, if we let Trump as a criminal defendant just skip every avenue of appeal and come to us directly, then that's going to be our world, right? Every criminal defendant who ever loses a trial is immediately going to show up with papers, and we don't want that. We want criminal defendants to go through the normal process, because otherwise they'd be overwhelmed. So,
okay.